time to like day trade effectively. So I try to stick more to the major players that I don't have to be monitoring at all times to not be worried about it.
Yeah, for sure, man. 'Cause, yeah, I try to just be updated with the markets, and the best way is just actually get buy-in some, like, with the token price. You're invested, so you check in much more. You like update what's going on. It's like to me that's the best way to learn. But yeah, again, takes so much fucking time. It's like sometimes I'm up from like 4:30 a.m. I have like meetings at 5, and I'm working all the way till like 11, 12 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep, it becomes a full-time job, which isn't a bad thing. But when you also have a full-time job, it just becomes two full-time jobs instead.
Yeah, the double full-time job.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's give it like one more minute. Just wait for some stragglers. And yeah, Milkau is our community manager. He'll also be helping with some technical support as well. Milkau, are you
Awesome.
also streaming on X?
Yeah, yeah, we are very on. We are very on.
Okay, nice.
Let me share the screen.
Awesome.
I have the pleasure to meet Bolon in live. Was awesome in YTG Play Summit.
Oh yeah, in Philippines, right?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
Philippines.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Oh, I like the
Looking forward to
background.
coming back.
I like the background.
Yeah, I just realized I didn't have it. I was like, wait a minute, I have fancy backgrounds. Yeah,
Yeah,
Play Summit was incredible. It was incredible.
Yeah, man. What was your takeaway? Was that your first time?
That was my first time at the summit, and honestly, it was hands down the best crypto event I've ever been to.
No way. What was like the highlight for you?
Just it was the most people I have ever seen in one place excited about Web3, excited about gaming in particular, which obviously, I'm biased. Uh, but, hell, I'm flying tomorrow to Denver for ETH Denver. ETH Denver is a massive event. It's a great event, but it's spread out across the whole sector. Play Summit is so much just about gaming, and to see that many people in one place who are, hardcore gamers, they're there for games, they're excited about games. It just it really helps revitalize your outlook on gaming as a sector to see that many people who just want to play games and like yeah they want to potentially earn from them as well. That's great. That's why we're in Web3, right? But to see that many people who just want games is really cool. Um, from what I've heard, I think the next closest would have been Avalanche Summit in Argentina, but unfortunately, I was not at that one, so I just have to FOMO it. But from what I've heard, that one was also really, really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was gaming specific, and it's great just seeing all these like familiar places that like we've interacted with, worked with over the last 2, 3 years. It was like yeah, amazing to that respect. It's everything gaming, and then yeah, you really get to see the energy. It's like all these gamers, all these crypto, yeah, like former scholars we even met from like political
Mhm.
scholars days. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's always really cool to get to meet your community in real life.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So yeah, I think we should get going now. So yeah, how the format for today would be let's do like a 30-minute AMA talking about
Nope. Did I lose more life, or is it not just me?
Can you hear?
yeah, yeah. I think you're back.
You're back now.
Okay. Yeah. So what did you miss? The whole thing?
Yeah, you said the format for today, and then it froze. Maybe it was just me. It might have just been me. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. So the format for today, the first 30 minutes would be an AMA where we just talk about DeFi Kingdoms background, like talk about like the blockchain integrations, technology aspect, the team background, and etc. And then the later 30 minutes would actually dig into the game because this is part of today's activation. DeFi Kingdom released a new feature where it's free to play, and there's also touching on some tournament releases down
Back,
the
yeah.
road. How does that sound?
Sounds excellent. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, so yeah, super excited to bring on Bolin from DeFi Kingdom. It's one of the most OG crypto games out there. I say aside from Axie Infinity. I actually personally know people 2021 that made millions, tens of millions of dollars from DeFi Kingdom. So yeah, it's always exciting to have someone as OG and built such a game with such impact like DeFi Kingdom on. So yeah, thank you for coming on, Bolin.
Yeah, very, very happy to be here. Appreciate that. It's been a long road, but it's been a good road.
For sure. So yeah, definitely the first question is
E aí,
what was
beleza?
is your
Tem um tanque na
guys'
minha
team
frente,
background?
cara. Parado aqui, ó. Exatamente, localização.
Yeah, what's your
Say that one more
team background?
Team background, yeah. So we launched in August 2021. And when we originally launched, it was a team of four. And then it very rapidly grew. So I came on about 2 weeks after launch. Um, we engineer. So tons of math. We have a lot of different developers who have been devs for a very, very long time at this point. Several of them actually worked together in the Web 2 world, and then kind of as DFK grew, were recruited into the Web 3 world through one of the founders who himself had come from that company. So there's a lot of experience around our team, which is really cool.
Amazing. And if there was one superpower you would ascribe your team, what would that be?
Uh, Invulnerability. We have survived a lot, and just keep going and keep surviving. And so I think that's an easy one actually.
Yeah, I like that because I think if I were to think about DeFi Kingdom team just all these years, I think yeah, that would definitely be one of the things. Unruggable, I think would be a word that comes up to me because yeah, I think that brings on to the next question because in our previous conversations, I know that you guys were on Harmony and then I guess Harmony fell apart and then you guys went on to Clayton and now Avalanche. Can you tell me a bit more about that transition?
Yeah. So we were always designed to be cross chain. So if you think of most of your major RPGs, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, depending on how far back you want to go, Ultima Online, which is one of my favorites. You always have like regions, right? And so you're moving around the world and you're going between the different regions. And so that's really the feel that we wanted. And from the get go, we're like, well, why not just make those different chains? So when you go to another region, you're going to a different chain. And that way, we're really just bringing everything together across Web3. So we did originally launch on Harmony. Harmony got their bridge hacked, which was just brutally devastating for everyone on Harmony. Ourselves, other projects, users, literally everyone. And that it was rough. So at that point, we had actually just launched our first cross chain expansion, which was Avalanche. We were the very first Avalanche back then subnet. They now call them L1s, which is DFK chain. We are still the largest, although there's some lively competition for that title these days, but we're holding on to it as long as we can. But yeah, so we were their first subnet. So when that happened, we essentially migrated everything over as quick as we could, for features, for players, encouraging the players to move their assets over, just so that it was safe. We then migrated our original realm off of Harmony to a chain called Clayton, which is now rebranded into Kaya. And so we have two realms. We have Crystal Vale, which is on DFK chain, and we have Sarandel, which is on Kaya. And then actually, about 4 months ago now, we launched our third region, which is the Sundered Isles on Metis, which is an Ethereum L2. And the Sundered Isles are really focused around combat. So the Sundered Isles are the home of the Colosseum, which is where all of our player versus player combat takes place. They also have our patrols, which is like our entry level combat. So a lot of what we're going to get into and take a look at in the second half of this will actually take place on Metis in the Sundered Isles. But all of that is fed through our other realms. So DFK chain houses Crystal Vale. Crystal Vale is where our heroes are created. It's where your heroes can go gathering for materials to make potions that you use in combat. It also has our boss fights. So there's different content on each of our in each of our regions essentially.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely can't wait to get onto those content part later. But I also want to ask too, because some of our audiences are also game studios, like developers as well. So just want to ask from like a game studio's perspective, what was your experience moving from chain to chain? Is there any challenges, difficulties, or certain chains that do things better than each other? Or what's your decision to go from like a different, like selecting one chain over the other?
Yeah, so every chain is slightly different. One of the beauties of being cross chain is that every chain has something that it does very, very, very well. And so if you're cross chain, you can really take advantage of each of those aspects. So we can say, this chain is really fast. So anything that we want really quick transactions on, we can do on that chain. So you start to like inherit different benefits from different chains that you can then use to your advantage. At least thus far, and realistically, probably moving forward, also, we stick to EVM. Once you get into multiple languages, life gets very tricky because now you need multiple code bases and you have to maintain all of it, and it becomes a lot more. But even within EVM chains, there are small differences, and that's definitely something that you need to be aware of. So Kaya, for example, uh, to protect their blockchain or their block time, they have computation limits. That's fine, but it means that some of our contracts we needed to limit more than we needed to limit on DFK chain. So it's just things that you as a builder really need to be aware of and look at. Like even if it's an EVM chain, you need to look at their EVM configuration to see what their limits, their requirements are, so that you can make sure that you're building within those bounds. I don't think any chain is unusable. You just have to make sure that you know what their limits are. And then also gas price. Gas price is a really big one because, especially if you're building on chain, that's transactions, that's gas. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind as well.
Amazing. And yeah, I want to ask specifically with Avalanche, since I think that's the most gaming centric one. What's like the pros, the cons? Well, how's your experience with Avalanche?
Yeah, so Avalanche has been absolutely amazing. The Ava Labs team is incredible. And so Avalanche in itself has many benefits, but obviously its flagship benefit is you don't need to build on C Chain. You can build your own chain. So C Chain already has a lot of benefits. It's extremely fast, it's incredibly stable, and they've done a lot of things to bring their gas costs down as well. So even C Chain is a really, really strong candidate. And honestly, we were considering going to Avalanche C Chain, which is how we ended up being the first subnet because they were like, hey, y'all want to try this instead? Sure. But especially with the L1 system, at this point, they've made it so easy to create your own L1. They've worked with AWS and other providers to really make it super, super simple to create your own L1. And at that point, you get to decide all of those configurations. So you can actually build a chain custom to what you're doing, which is what we did with DFK chain. So we have super high throughput, super low gas, very fast transaction times because that's what we wanted for the best experience for our game. And so like L1s in themselves are an absolutely incredible thing where you can customize the chain to make sense for your project, which is beautiful. Uh, and then like I said, C chain in itself also an extremely solid option that gives a lot of benefits to build on C chain directly as well. It looks like
Amazing.
we might need to turn our cameras off because the room is blocked at 25 people.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. Yeah, at least we got some recording
Yep.
with the face
Y'all
cam.
can't see my pretty face anymore. I'm sorry. Uh,
Awesome. Yeah. So next question I want to ask too. It's I feel like for the audiences who aren't familiar, can you run through like a bit of history for DeFi Kingdom? Just like why is it the type of game you're building? Like is it fully on-chain game? Like, you know, what's the kind of the teaser into this release that you guys are doing, opening it up?
Yeah, for sure. So our whole team is a bunch of nerds. We all grew up playing games. We all love games, and we just wanted to make a really cool game. And so that's really how it started. But the vision was kind of twofold. So the first part of the vision was gamifying DeFi to make it more approachable for non-traders. So that's really what we started as when we very first launched. We launched with a DEX, liquidity pools, and it was gamified DeFi. It was pixel art. We have custom sound throughout the whole game, custom music. So it was a much more approachable way to get into DeFi, to learn what LPs are, to learn how trading works, what a DEX is, all of that kind of stuff. And then what we wanted to do from there is build out the RPG on top of and integrating those DeFi protocols. So again, I'm going to, use World of Warcraft as an example because it's everybody knows World of Warcraft for the most part. Uh, we wanted to have a RPG experience with an in-game economy like what World of Warcraft has, but all on chain and all tokenized, so that it is a open player-driven economy that we really don't interfere with. So we build the game, but the economics or the economy itself is really up to our players. So I've legitimately lost count of how many tokens we have at this point, but I'm pretty confident we're like well over 200 because everything in our game is a token. So our heroes are NFTs. You send your hero out on a fishing quest and it comes back with fish. Each of those fish is a token. Everything is tradable. Everything is, buyable, buy, sell, trade, whatever you want. It is a fully open world economy. And that's really what we wanted to see was that fully on-chain player-driven activity. So rather than coming in the game and buying stuff from the game studio, you're buying stuff from other players, you're selling stuff to other players. We're just providing the game. And so that's really what we set out to do. So with that said, we are very, very heavily on chain. Pretty much the only thing in our game that is not entirely on the chain is the actual combat itself is in an off-chain combat engine that we custom build. Primarily because nobody wants to sign a transaction every time they make an attack in combat. Like that wouldn't be fun. But even the combat engine, it originates on chain, and the on chain transaction is what tells the combat engine what heroes to bring in, what equipment to bring in, all of that stuff. And then at the end of combat, there's another transaction to the chain to report the results back to the chain. So even in that instance, we still want everything that we can possibly have on chain. It proves validity so that there's no questions. It's on chain. It provides access. So like we have developers in our community who have built a bunch of tools for different things within DeFi Kingdoms. It's that much easier because all of that data is on chain. So they can just pull the data. They don't even need anything from us. And it really just embraces the like in our opinion the like the highlighted purpose of blockchain technology in gaming. So when you come out of combat, if you win rewards, it's minting those rewards to you on chain.
Amazing. And actually, how has that journey been from building a pretty much fully on-chain gamer? I think with the gaming last few years, we have seen lots of different narratives of like, you do kind of abstract the wallets, get Web2 players on, but it seems like you guys are going steadfast in this Web3 native approach. Has things been changing? Like, do you guys, look at other more like Web2 friendly games and look at those numbers and then kind of have a different mindset, or how has that experience or thought process been?
Yeah, I'll definitely say up front we did not choose the easy path. So, so there's definitely challenges that come with, putting as much as possible on chain. Solidity itself has pretty stringent contract size limits, which then about a year after we started, the diamond standard came out, which really helped on the Solidity front. But yeah, there's definitely challenges with building like fully on chain. That said, you know, we do look at games like that as well, of course. And it's not that they're bad or they're doing anything wrong or anything like that. It's just a different choice. And honestly, I think the best way for all of us to succeed is that there is both. Because if those games can help get people into the beginnings of Web3, get a taste for it, see that, you know, not everything in crypto is a scam, which is helpful for people to understand. You know, if they can help them dip their toe in, and then they can come and play something like DeFi Kingdoms that's fully on chain and really get immersed into it and hopefully gain a deeper understanding of the crypto aspects, which they can then translate back to that first game to maximize what they're doing in that first game as well. The reality is most gamers don't play one game. We're not competing with other Web3 games. We all need users to come into the Web3 space and start playing these games because most people are going to play 2, 3, 4 games, and then, you know, in a few months they might be a completely different 2, 3, or 4 games. So it's all about like lifting the space up and bringing users in. So I think it's very beneficial that there are games like that that are being built because they can do something that we don't do, and then we can do something that they don't do, and it can be mutually beneficial.
Because yeah, I absolutely love this approach. Because in the bear market, everyone was talking about abstracting away the wallets, and then for us, we helped a bunch of games with their user acquisition efforts via Web2 content creators and getting Web2 gamers on. But then we got really good numbers for those. But the problem we had realized was that Web2 gamers don't know how to interact with like tokens or NFTs. So essentially, it's just empty DAU, empty MAU. So actually, super interesting to see you guys stick completely through this Web3 native approach, and I think in the bull market, you guys would benefit massively from this sticking to your guns.
Yeah, and like I said, it's all about collaboration. You know, if those users can be brought into the you know, I feel like Web 2.5 has become like almost insulting, and I don't mean it that way. But like, if they can come into the account abstracted games and go, oh, like this game is cool, there's a token involved, this isn't a scam, maybe other crypto isn't a scam. Okay, cool. Come check out DeFi Kingdoms, learn how all the tokens work. Now go keep playing that game too. And now you understand what those tokens are. Now you understand what they're for, how to use them, how to make the most of them. And so it's really just translatable knowledge.
Absolutely love that. And I also want to ask you, for a player just starting out in 2025, how can they get into DeFi Kingdom? Because I feel like sometimes talk to people, they're like, okay, DeFi Kingdom, it's like they had their hype 2021, people made a bunch of money in it. Are there still opportunities in DeFi Kingdom?
Yeah, so there's still lots of opportunities, and I can't go too deep on this because I do work for the team, so I got to be careful about how what I say. But there's definitely opportunities. Like we have players who are making consistent profits out of DFK. If that's what you're looking for, there are opportunities for it. Now they aren't, you know, they aren't what they were in 2021 where it's, "Hey, there's a really high APR, just come stake some tokens and you're gonna, you know, make a bunch of tokens in return." They're gonna take some actual effort, they're gonna take some gameplay, because that's really what we were building towards. We want the gameplay to be rewarding. That said, we have an amazing community. You guys also have an amazing community. I always love hanging out with the Metagoons crew. But if anybody's like, "Hey, I'd be, you know, I like DFK. I want to see what I can do and figure out, you know, a strategy." Come talk to our community. They'll tell you what they're doing. Like they don't care. They don't mind. They don't mind sharing. They're very open. They're very welcoming. They want people to come join the game. So, you know, come talk to them and ask them what they're doing, and they will flat out tell you how they are being profitable. And then outside of that, like, you know, in crypto especially, there's always the mentality of like, am I too late? I feel like especially with games in particular, but and you know, we are one of them. It's really hard to be too late because we're always adding new features. So like we've built a ton of stuff in the last 3.5 years. We have so much more than that to build still. And so we're constantly adding new features. We're constantly adding new opportunities, for people to potentially, have a strategy to be profitable in. And so it's hard to be too late because there's always a new option. And, for our current players, if they already have a strategy, they may or may not adopt that new strategy. But a new player who isn't working a strategy already certainly could. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
Amazing. Yeah, on that note, let's dig into the game, shall we?
Absolutely. You want me to screen share or do you want to?
Yeah, I can screen share. So yeah, Milka, I dropped this link. I also posted in the chat. You guys can just go on, create a. Yeah, it's actually what a wallet is abstract is. Drop your email and then you can get in.
Yeah, so you can use, MetaMask, Rabby, Core, any of the major wallets. Or we do have our account abstracted wallet as well, just for simplicity. I will say, generally speaking, use whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you prefer. The account abstracted wallet is non-custodial. It is your wallet. However, if you are primarily a mobile user, I would highly recommend the account abstracted wallet. Because otherwise, if you want to use otherwise you're using like MetaMask Mobile or Rabby Mobile, and they aren't the best experience. With the account abstracted wallet, you just use your whatever browser you want on your phone, and it's a much better experience.
Amazing. Yeah, I did that option.
Awesome. So yeah, you can close out of that for right now because we're just going to take a tour. So this is Crystal Vale. So this is DFK chain. This is essentially our second realm, technically speaking. But then it went from our second to our only, and then back to our second. But so Crystal Vale's here on DFK chain. So there's a lot of things that you can do on Crystal Vale. It is our most featured realm, I would say. So there's a ton of options here. We do have a little bit of a tutorial. It's nothing like super crazy. It's not, read 18 paragraphs, but it gives you an overview of each area within Crystal Vale and what that area does. So this is the marketplace. So the marketplace, as it sounds, is kind of your hub for trading. So you've got the trader, which is our AMM decks. You've got the bazaar, which is our order book decks. You can buy equipment here. So there's a lot to do in Crystal Vale itself. You can also summon heroes. You can do our void hunts, which are our boss fights. So our boss fights are the Mad Boars and the Bad Mother Cluckers. So they're a lot of fun. They are very challenging, but very fun and rewarding as well. And so the main thing is to play DeFi Kingdoms, you do need heroes, which are one of our NFTs, which those are in the tavern actually. So in the tavern, you can look at the hero marketplace with the agent. But one of the things I was mentioning earlier, our heroes are all created in game by our players, and then it's a player to player marketplace. So everything that you see in this marketplace is listed by another player, not by us. You're not buying anything from us, really. So essentially, we started the population with 3,000 heroes, which we call our Gen Zeros. They have unlimited summons. Every hero after them has a finite number of summons. If you've messed around with anything with a breeding system, CryptoKitties, Axie, etc., it's comparable. And so as these heroes are created, then players can sell them, they can use them to farm resources, they can do whatever they want with them ultimately. But we have had over 2 million heroes summoned in game by our players. Now, for various benefits to those players at different times, about 600,000 or 650,000 of those have been burned also. So there are not 2 million in existence, but we have had 2 million summoned, which is a really cool milestone. So our heroes are NFTs, but they're very interesting NFTs. They are dynamic NFTs. So you can see, they have a number of summons that depends on how that hero was created. They also have an amount of stamina, which dictates how many times they can do certain activities. And then they have an experience bar. And so as you do different activities with your heroes, as you quest with them, as you fight with them, whatever the case may be, those heroes are going to gain experience. And then once their experience bar is full, you can actually level that hero up. So you can take it from level 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and so on. And as you level them up, their stats grow. So they're actually getting stronger, getting, faster, getting bigger as you level them up. So they are very, very dynamic NFTs versus just, here's your NFT, that's it. Our NFTs actually change over time.
Very interesting. And there's until level 100.
So at the moment there is until level 20, but there will be until level 100, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
right now we go up to level 20 and then we'll continue to raise that cap as we go.
In terms of the combat system, seeing there's so many different classes for like a newbie, is there any tips and tricks on what class you should be looking into?
Yes, so that's a very good question. So right now there are, as you can see, 22 classes. Uh, we are, as we go, we are also adding all 22 of those classes to our combat engine. However, as it stands right now, if you are looking at doing combat, you want to focus on, and I'll type this in chat also, so don't worry about trying to memorize it as I say it, but you want to focus on warrior, knight, archer, priest, seer, and berserker. So those 6 classes, berserker and priest. Yep, there you go. So those 6 classes are the ones that have their skills in combat already. If you take any other class into combat, they will have a couple abilities you can use and they will have a basic attack, but I would not recommend it. You want your skills. So we are also adding more classes to the combat engine as we go as well. So one other thing that's really fun about that in a different way though is it constantly shifts the meta. So every time a new class is introduced, the entire meta shifts as it adjusts to a new playable class, a whole new set of team compositions, etc. And then on the skill front, again, if you've played RPGs, it'll be familiar to you. It's a skill tree setup. So as your hero levels up, they unlock more skills. At each tier, you have 3 skills and you get to pick one of those skills. The higher the level, the more skills you get to pick.
Got it. And I'm also seeing these different like attributes. Is there like a farming element where you need to collect resources, materials, things like that, aside from combat?
Yep. Yeah, so those top 4 right there, the gathering professions, mining, foraging, fishing, and gardening. So those 4 gathering professions are how you like those are one way to acquire different tokens, which you can then use to make potions. You'll be able to use them to make armor and weapons later. So essentially, you send your hero out foraging. Your hero comes back with experience and a basket of plants. And as I mentioned earlier, all of those plants are tokens, so they're all tradable as well. Or you can use them to craft items, potions, that kind of thing. The crafting professions, we have not introduced our crafting system yet. So they have the profession, but you can't craft. The only thing you can craft right now is potions, and you don't need one of the professions for that in today's world. That may change, but yeah. So gathering is one of the big ones. Combat obviously is the other one, and that's where like the gardening profession is one that's particularly unique. The gardening profession, you go gardening in the LP pools. So you actually assign your hero and say, this hero is going to garden in this LP pool. And you have minimum rewards, but if you have LP in that pool, you actually get more rewards. So that's one of the places where we really hardcore tie the DeFi side of things into the game itself.
Got it. Amazing. And then where do we go to that aspect?
If you yep, world map will work, and then professions is bottom left. There you go. And so you can see here you've got the forager, the pikmin, the greenskeeper, and the fisher or the forester. Sorry, I mispronounced his name. But so you can use those NPCs to send your heroes out questing. As they quest, they also get skill points, so then you can do more advanced versions of that quest as well.
Got it. Very cool. And then yeah,
And
any
then,
other features for combat system we can test out?
so yes, so I am going to have you in the bottom left of your screen where it says Crystal Vale. I'm gonna have you click on that and switch over to the Sundered Isles for me. So Crystal Vale is the home of our boss fights, but we don't have like a demo version of the boss fights currently. However, we also have here in the Sundered Isles what we call patrols. So if you go to the registry, patrols are our like entry level combat, but also we set up a demo experience. So rather than go to Patrol Submersia, if you go to Try Patrols Demo, so Patrols is a progressive, like choose your own adventure kind of style. So there's three tiers of difficulties: levels 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9. Honestly, you can pick whichever one you want. When you go into the demo, it's going to load a pre-selected team of heroes in for you at an appropriate level for which encounter you choose.
Right. Let's go challenge mode then.
Let's go. And
All right.
so,
Like,
so essentially, each level, like each group of patrols, has a group of enemies, and which enemies you fight is randomly determined. So, like right now, you're in Blood Moon. If you finish this fight and then come back into Blood Moon, you're gonna see well, you're probably going to see a different team of enemies because it's all random. Uh, we're gonna be adding even more to that as well. And then, so with the demo, it'll be one fight. However, if you're playing with your own heroes, it's progressive. So after you fight the first wave of enemies, you're given the option of stopping there and claiming your rewards, or continuing on facing another wave of enemies. And if you beat that wave, you're going to get more rewards. And you can do that up to right now up to 3 fights, but we're going to be expanding pretty much everything. We're going to be expanding the number of fights. We're going to be expanding the number of enemies. So we just released patrols about 5 weeks ago. So we're still going to be adding a lot more to it. But yeah, so this is honestly for a new player who says this is cool. I want to get into DeFi Kingdoms and I want to play combat. Start with patrols. Patrols is your best starting point to learn how combat works, to experience the combat engine, and to really just get your feet under you, and then keep going from there into harder and harder experiences.
got it. So in a nutshell, you'll basically need to buy 3 characters and then
Correct.
just go from there. Like try to level them up, send them off different quests, different collect resources,
Yep.
level up, etc.
Yep, exactly. And so taking a minute here in the combat engine, so it is a turn-based combat system. It one important note on that, it is not round-based. So every hero, every enemy, they all have a speed, and if they are faster, they will take more turns than other heroes or enemies. But it is turn by turn combat. And then up at the top, you've got your time bar, so you can see where everybody falls in turn order. You can see who's coming up, when they're coming up, and especially because it can be variable and people can lap others. That's very important to know where you fall on the time system. And then each hero uh, is going to have a basic attack, of course, and then their number of skills will depend on how high level they are. The higher the level they are, the more skills they're going to have. Normally speaking, if they're your heroes, you're going to get to make those skill choices yourself. In this case, we just load you in pre-selected so you're ready to go. And then every hero also has, to the right of skills, 2 abilities. The difference between abilities and skills: abilities do not cost mana, but they can only be used one time per combat. Skills do cost mana, but you can use them over and over and over again. The abilities are actually a part of the NFT. So when that hero is summoned, their two abilities are determined at that time. Skills are up to the owner. You can pick and choose as you go. You can change them. You can do whatever you want.
Very cool.
There's a question in chat I'm just going to answer live. Have we considered translating into Portuguese? Yes, is the short answer. We actually did do a translation into Korean, and we really want to keep going and like expand that. The challenge that we run into is the game just keeps growing. So even at that point, there was like 30,000 words to translate. We're probably closer to 35,000 already now. So it becomes a bit of a challenge to maintain. But yes, we would really like to translate into more and more languages. And then also just provide resources in other languages too. So like we have a community built wiki. If there's we have a handful of Portuguese speaking community members as well, actually. If we can get a few people to help us out with it, like we could make a Portuguese section of the wiki that would help people as well. But yeah, other language support I'm a big fan of. I will say browser translation actually does pretty well with it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good.
With like AI, have you guys started experimenting with AI, integrating that, using that?
So, yes is the short version. Where we get a little bit concerned on the AI side, I think what we could do is have AI do it and then have a native speaker review it. Because where we get a little worried is the like the financial side of things.
As in what, like this like disrupts the economy or?
No, sorry, just if the translation isn't accurate, or sorry, were you talking about translation or were you talking about just AI in general?
Yeah, like translation, even like game development, getting content.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, in terms of translation with AI, it's primarily like if when it comes to like the liquidity pools, for example, if for whatever reason something just doesn't translate accurately and there's a financial implication because the information was either wrong or just misrepresented because of the translation. But I do think we could potentially have AI do the translation and then have it reviewed by a person rather than like doing it all by hand. I think there's some options there. In terms of development, we do use some AI tools. Like overall, our development is all still done by like our developers, but they use AI tools to assist in the development for sure. Uh, we really, I would say, the main place that AI does not touch currently is our art. We don't do AI art. We have really, really phenomenal pixel artists, and they do their work, and it's beautiful. So we don't mess with them.
Amazing.
And then I had mentioned earlier about the music, but we actually have a composer who works like for our project. So everywhere you go in game is going to have a different soundtrack they're all made by our composer, and he is absolutely amazing. The nostalgia will just you'll feel the nostalgia for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I should turn the music on to like.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's always better with music.
Mm-hmm.
I will say for your first experience here, you're doing pretty good. And you went straight to the most challenging one, and I basically have not helped you at all. So, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for some assist, man. It seems like it's all healing at this point. Can't even attack.
So your priest is going to be largely healing. So yeah, good call out actually. So, every class has unique skills. A few of our classes have follow like pretty standard archetypes overall. Uh Oh, because it's your priest turn. Never mind. So like this team that you're using is a knight, an archer, and a priest. Your knight is a tank that does a little bit of damage. Your archer is purely focused on damage, and then your priest is really focused on healing. There are a couple options for the priest to be more of a damage dealer, but for the most part, it is going to be focused on healing. But yeah, like prayer might's a little bit of a both. Yeah, we can. I'll try to actually give you good advice on on your next attempt and see if I can help a little bit. I got distracted talking about DeFi Kingdoms, you know.
You actually got the sense. You need to heal the get the HP up, the MP up, and then I can attack.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where a lot of it, it's very strategy based, and then once you start to get the strategy, it becomes easier. And then RNG throws wrenches in it. So, you gotta keep it lively.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, can you touch a bit on the new tournament series that's coming up?
Yeah, for sure. So it will actually launching tomorrow is our first tournament series. So they are on-chain bracketed single elimination tournaments. We are going to have it's a progressive series, so it's like daily tournaments. If you perform well enough in the daily tournaments, you qualify for the weekly tournaments. If you perform well enough in the weekly, you qualify for the monthly, and then we'll have a big final showdown at the end of the this one's a 6-month series. So at the end of the 6 months, we'll have one big final battle royale. But in the meantime, we are going to have tournaments with all kinds of different rules and restrictions. We really wanted to make sure that as many features as we possibly can are as approachable for as many people as they can be. So we didn't want to build a tournament system where you have to be the best player with the best heroes to even bother competing. We want it to be open. We want people to be able to come in and have fun and participate. So we have a whole bunch of different like rule sets for different tournaments so that there's a tournament that you like your heroes can only be up to level 6. There's other tournaments where it's like level 7 to 10. So we tried to mix it up and put in a lot of variety so that it was more open for different people to come and compete. Within that tournament system, over the next 6 months, we have over $75,000 in cash equivalent rewards, as well as we have equipment, which is NFTs in the game, weapons, armor, that kind of stuff. That'll be part of the rewards. We also have like if you perform well enough in the daily to get to the weekly, you get a qualifier token. That qualifier token is also tradable. So again, everything's tokenized. There's multiple ways to kind of win. But essentially, like for our daily tournaments, for example, we're doing a $5 entry fee. First place gets $30. Second place gets 15. Third get 5, I think. Oh god, now I'm going off memory and I'm messing up. And then first place also gets equipment, and then the further in you get, obviously, the bigger the prizes are. So like that final big tournament is going to have a $10,000 grand prize as the cash equivalent prize, plus a bunch of equipment and all kinds of cool stuff for them as well.
Nice, man. And how does that work? Is it like hosted in your Discord? Is it like a set time where people can just compete whenever they want?
Yeah, so it'll actually all be done on chain. So you'll be able to go to the whale right there actually that says registration over his head. You won't be able to see it just yet. You'll be able to see it tomorrow though. But you'll be able to go there and essentially sign up for the tournament. The entries will open an hour before the tournament runs. And then after that, our basically our back end will take all of the entries, randomly match them for the first round, take the results from the first round, create the second round. So they'll be done in real time. Our aim is like an hour to an hour and a half for a tournament. So that people can sit down and just play the tournament, and then all of the schedule. Actually, we just announced I don't remember, a couple days ago. Friday, maybe. God, time doesn't exist, but yeah, I can snag that link. It's in our Twitter and our Discord. But we made a Google Calendar so that people can see when tournaments are scheduled and what the rules for those tournaments are, so that they can decide, what they want to participate in, when they'll need to be online to participate in that.
Amazing. Yeah, if we can grab a link and drop it in the oh, here it is. Kyle's one step ahead. Is it this one?
Uh, it is actually not. Hang on one second. It's one after that. I got
Yeah,
you though.
let's drop the links. Everyone, go register, and yeah, we have one day left to get some basic training done to be able to participate.
And I will say that's part of why we structured it the way that we did is like, yes, if win the first daily and then win the first weekly and then win the first monthly, like, yeah, you're already in for that final tournament. Now you can still play in the meantime because you can sell other qualifier tokens, whatever you want, you have options there, but you don't have, like, even if you come in uh you know um 2 months in, 3 months in, you still have the same opportunity to end up in that, like, final big tournament anyway. So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't oh, if you're not here day one, you might as well just sit out for 6 months, because that's the opposite of what we want. We want you to come in and play whenever you're ready to come in and play, and still have those opportunities to go all the way to the end.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, this is it, guys. DeFi Kingdom, one of the gaming OGs, and then releasing bunch of new features, tournament series, like a free-to-play version. So yeah, if you guys liked what you see, definitely go create an account, sign up, and then tournament series start tomorrow. Any last words do you have, Bolin?
I will just say thank you guys so much for having me. The Metagoons community has always been absolutely amazing. I love hanging out with you guys. It's always such a blast to get to connect with y'all. If you have any questions, if you don't know where to start, if you want some help, whatever the case may be, I'm here. Hit me up. You can tag me anytime, reach out to me, hop in our Discord, hang out with our community. They're super helpful. Whatever the case may be, we're here for you guys, and we want to help people get playing because we think we have a really fun game, and we would love for all of you to check it out. So we're here to help. Just let me know how we can.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Bolin. And I'll see you in ETH Denver then.
Yes, sir. You're gonna be there, right?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. Yeah, also that, if you're gonna be at ETH Denver, hit us up. We'll be there as well. We would love to meet you guys. We'll have some swag.
Amazing. What are you guys hosting any events?
So we are not hosting any events, but we are going to be in the gaming arcade basically the entire time, which is actually in the main building this year. So if you've been in prior years, it was like in that side building. They brought it into the main event this year, so we're going to be there most of the time.
Amazing. Yeah, gaming ball run, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time for sure.
Uh-huh. Awesome. All right, then enjoy the rest of your day, Bolin, and then I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Cool. All right, cheers. Milk Tyra, you guys there?
Yo, I'm here.
Yeah, let's do a post on X and then see if we can get some attention to this.
I think Vinny already did. Let me see.
Oh, he did? Where is it?
Yeah. This one. I think this one. To the events.
Nice. Yes, everyone here can just like and support, and then we will get some pick one of the winners from today's AMA for the NFT.
Nice. So they need just to like, retweet, and comment in this post, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and then make sure they were in today's AMA as well.
Definitely.
Cool.
But you know the amount of prize that you can share?
Yeah,
How
it's
many?
with their NFT.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
I will create a proof channel here. Oh, second. Second.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming, Tage, Koala. You guys gonna be playing? The tournament starts tomorrow.
So guys, um, we are getting the info that you participate in the events and also like your tweets and comments, and we will do a giveaway. So we will share not only on Discord but also on X, tagging you. So we will tag the winners and get the wallets. Okay.
Alrighty. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. We'll be bringing you guys more of these AMAs slash prize pools slash reward pools for these different games. So yeah, taking you guys, introducing you guys to new games and bringing more opportunities and also adding some of these prizes on the marketplace. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you guys for participating and for joining and being supporters. However many years you guys have been with us. We've been around since 2021.
That's it. Thank you guys. Have a nice day and see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have another event with a cash with prizes. So tomorrow we will play Andromeda. Okay. And on Thursday and Friday we will play more two games that are uh, Super Champs and also the Pixel Heroes that are launching. So keep looking for the events here at Metagoons. We are always bring events with prizes or early access or with a lot of information and good opportunities. So I really like to shout out also the legacy community that's coming to the events. So they are always helping us in audience, and they will also host an event today. So let me share with you guys their links. So don't miss because it will be a event with uh, prize pool as well. So you'll be $50 in giveaways. So it's tomorrow. They will play Alchemy. So it's good for you participate on that because they are awesome. Okay. Uh, another information about you guys that our marketplace is already launched. So you guys can take a look here on X. We make a huge thread about what you can get it using our marketplace. Okay, so take a look. Don't 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 lose that opportunity. Uh, you can look the prices here on the marketplace channel. Okay. If you have any questions, just open a ticket. But in general, if you engage in events, if you engage using the engage bot, and if you participate in the community, you accumulate points and you can trade and exchange for prizes for NFTs, tokens, and items that we have on our marketplace. So just engaging on MetaGoons, don't just be part of the community and win. Win-win for everybody. Thank you, everybody. That's it.
Nice. Oh yeah, this is the latest post we guys made. If you guys like, support it, retweet it,
Oh,
bring some attention to this. Yeah, and then we
nice,
can
nice,
represent Metagoons to the tournament.
nice, nice. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Go. Thank you, guys.
Cool. All right. See you guys then. Until next time.
So that's it, guys. Thank you for coming for the EMA with DeFi Kingdoms, one of the most hyped games of L3. For me, I love their team and also the gameplay. So thanks for joining. See you again in more lives. Tomorrow we have more events, like I said. Andromeda, Game Nights, Super Champs, and Pixel Heroes. So join in and let's play on Metagoons. Alright, thank you. See you next.